Hey everyone, today I've got 6 new card reveals to take you through. Blizzard's also brought back an old mechanic, so stay tuned for that. I will be doing daily videos, so be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date. So the first card for today is the Spiteful Summoner. This is a 6 mana 4/4 minion, so the stats are very weak. But it does have a very powerful, or potentially powerful, battle cry, and that is reveal a spell from your deck and summon a random minion with the same cost. So this I think is a very interesting card. I'm not sure it's going to be played a lot, but when it is played, it will be a lot of fun I think. I think you can create some really cool decks around this because there's a few things about the card though. It reveals the spell, so it doesn't draw the spell, so that is one thing. 2, it reveals a random spell, so if you've got any low cost spells in your deck, say if you've got any 1 cost spells like Evolve for example, play this, you're basically just getting a 6 mana 4/4 with another random 1 minion, drop minion, so it's not great. And 3, the spell has to be in your deck, so if you haven't got any spells left in your deck it won't do anything. And the third thing is the spell has to be in your deck for it to work, so if you've put a specific high cost spell into your deck to combo with this card and it's in your hand, then it won't work. I think this will be fun to try. I mean, if you've got too many spells in your deck, then it might not work because you're potentially going to be drawing one of your lower cost spells. But if you create your deck just full of high cost spells, say anything over the 3 mana would be worth summoning. And then of course there's the huge potential with if you put Pyroblast in there or Mind Control in your deck or something, then you can summon a 10 mana minion on turn 6, which, you know, that could be really good. If you're playing this card with the Druid class for example, you could potentially ramp into this. So on turn 4 you've already ramped your mana, you can play this. Then if you're lucky you reveal Ultimate Infestation and then you get a 10 cost minion on the board as well. So I think that's something people are going to be going for. But as with everything in Hearthstone, there's a lot of RNG with this card, so it's really going to be come down to some playtesting and practice whether we can tell whether this card's going to be good or not. But either way, I think it's an interesting card and it's going to be fun to play. Next up is the Silver Vanguard. This is a 7 mana neutral and common card, so it can be played in any deck. But its stats are 3/3 for 7 mana, so it's got terrible stats, but the Death Rattle is quite powerful. So Death Rattle, recruit an 8 cost minion. So obviously this has got some potential. It is a Death Rattle card, so it does have certain synergies. So as we've talked about in previous videos, you can play this with the Hunter and use the Play Dead card to activate the Death Rattle, so potentially you could end up drawing 2 8 cost minions. If you played this with N'Zoth and brought it back with N'Zoth, then yes, it'd be very powerful because you can get an 8 cost minion. But ultimately I don't think this card is very good. I think it's very slow. If you were to spend 7 mana to just summon a 3/3 onto the board, then you're going to be falling behind. The other disadvantage is it could be silenced, so if it gets silenced, you know, it's a terrible card. Also because it's a Death Rattle, it can be activated on your opponent's turn, so if they've got a good removal spell, they could just kill your 3/3 quite easily and then use a removal to get rid of your 8 cost minion. So it's interesting. We'll have to see if there's anything else that comes out in the set that makes it more worthwhile, but for now I don't think this is one that you would want to play in your deck. This next card I think has the potential to be really good and I think will be played quite a lot. It's called the Lone Champion. It's 3 mana with 2 attack and 4 health, so the stats are reasonably good for 3 mana. But it does have a battle cry: if you control no other minions, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. So this is an anti-aggro card really. I think maybe in Priestess could be quite good because they don't often have many early game minions. And if you're playing against Pirates for example, this can be really strong to play on turn 3 or even turn 2 if you've got the coin. There is already a card in the game which does a very similar job to this one, and that is the Tar Creeper. And the Tar Creeper is a 3 mana 5/1 which has +2 attack on your opponent's turn and it has Taunt. So what it does have is an extra 1 health and an extra 1 attack on your opponent's turn. So I can't really work out in my mind which one is better. The Tar Creeper is a very good card, and the advantage of the Tar Creeper is that every time you play it, you will get those effects. Whereas this, the Lone Champion, if you were to play it when you've got other minions on the board, it's not a very good card. But the Divine Shield and Taunt is going to cause some real issues for aggro decks, and actually having the extra 1 attack on your turn compared to the Tar Creeper is actually bigger than you might think, because it will allow you to deal with any minions with 2 health. So that can be really powerful in the early game. I don't know, I can't decide which is better, the Tar Creeper or the Lone Champion, but both of them are pretty decent. I'm sure this one will see some play. It will need some experimentation though to work out whether it's truly a good card. Next we've got a common mage card called the Raven Familiar. This is a 2-mana 2/2 beast, which is quite interesting, with the battle cry of reveal a spell in each deck. If yours costs more, draw it. Now this introduces an old mechanic back into the game, and that is Joust, which Blizzard introduced back in the Grand Tournament a long time ago. Joust wasn't really very popular at the time. Those cards didn't see a lot of play, and the reason is that there is so much RNG involved in revealing a spell from both decks. Whoever's costs more, if yours costs more, you get the benefit. If it doesn't cost more, you're just playing a 2-mana 2/2. So honestly, I don't really think this is a great card. I can't see a situation where you would really want to play this, because if you're playing on turn 2, then you likely only want to draw a lower cost spell, say maybe a 3 cost spell that you can play the next turn, because if you draw a 10 cost spell, you can't play it until turn 10 anyway, so it being in your hand isn't a huge benefit. And if you did just want to draw a 3 cost spell, then it's quite easy for your opponent to have a deck which costs higher, a spell in their deck which costs higher than it. So I don't know, I like it because it's a bit of a unique card in the game. I'm just not sure it's going to be a great card to put in your mage deck. But let's see, maybe there'll be some more cards introduced that help it with that. Next we've got a 6-mana hunter rare card called the Sleeping Oozeling. Now this minion has stats of 5 attack, 4 health, and it's got the battle cry, gain the death rattle of a random minion in your deck. So I'm quite excited about this card, even though I'm not sure it's great, but I'm happy that Blizzard is trying to push the Death Rattle Hunter. I think that will be a really cool deck to play in the next expansion, based on the cards that have already been introduced. So Katharina Winterwisp is really going to make that Death Rattle deck a good one to try. You can already play the Play Dead Death Rattle Hunter on the ladder, so I think by introducing Katharina Winterwisp, it's going to be definitely going to be a viable deck. Remains to be seen, obviously, how successful it will be, but I will definitely be trying it. So this has got an interesting one. So the battle cry is gain a death rattle of a random minion in your deck. So there's 2 things here. One, you have to have a death rattle minion in your deck. So if you don't, then it's not going to have any effect. The second thing is it's random, so you're not going to get exactly what you want. Although most of the Hunter Death Rattles are quite good, so you're likely to get Kindly Grandmother, so this would be Death Rattle Summoner 3/2. So if you're paying 6 mana and you're getting a 3/2 back, that's okay. If you get it on Katharina Winterwisp, well then it's amazing. It'll be really good. And the Savannah Highmane, which obviously is a really good one. But the issue I've got with this card is, why would you play a 6-mana 5/4 with a random death rattle when you can already play a Savannah Highmane, which is 6-mana 5/6 which already has a good death rattle? So I'm not sure how much this will be played. We'll have to see how it turns out when the people start experimenting with decks, etc. But I do like the idea, and basically watch this space with this card, I think. So the last card for today is quite an exciting one, and that is a Paladin class card. It's a rare card, 3 mana 2/2, and it's called the Unidentified Maul. The text reads, gains a bonus effect in your hand. And basically what it means is gains a bonus effect when you equip it. The interesting thing about this card is when you put it in your deck, it's unidentified, you don't know what it is, but there are 4 different weapons that this can transform into when you draw it. These are the 4 effects. They are random, so it's going to be difficult to really plan for this card, but I think some of the effects are quite good, and it's quite a versatile card, which when used I think can be quite impressive for Paladin. So the first one is Purifier's Maul, and this is Battlecry, give your minions Divine Shield. Now this really does have potential to be really good, so obviously you can play the card whenever you like. So if you've got a really strong board and there's a couple of really good trades that you can make, you play this, you give all of your minions Divine Shield just for 3 mana, and you also get to attack with the weapon. You can then make these trades and maintain your board. So I think this card's really good. Even if you played it and you only got your Divine Shield on 1 minion and you managed to make that 1 minion survive, I still think it's quite a good card. But once you get it on 2, 3, 4 minions, it's really powerful. Next one is Sacred Maul, and the effect here is Battlecry, give your minions Taunt. I don't really think this is a great effect because mostly you're going to be wanting to have Taunt on specific minions to protect other minions. But where it will be good is if you're playing against a really aggressive deck and you manage to get this on turn 3 and you can play it and give your minions Taunt, because sometimes aggressive decks just want to ignore your minions on the board and just hit your face. Well, if you can give them Taunt, then obviously that changes that. So this is probably the weakest of the 4, I'd imagine, but again it's only a 1 in 4 chance of you getting it, and there will be certain situations where you can get some benefit from it. Next one is Champion's Maul, and this one, Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits. This one can be really good depending on when you get it. So if you play this in the early game and you manage to summon 2 1/1 recruits and kill off your opponent's minion with your weapon, then it's a positive thing to do. If you play it in the late game, then it's not really going to be that impressive. I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of a weapon that has gone into Wild now called Muster for Battle, and that was actually a really powerful weapon. It was different in that it summoned 3 1/1 Silverhand recruits, but this kind of has the same idea. The final one that it can transform into is called Blessed Maul. And this one is Battlecry, give you minions +1 attack. Now again, this is a very situational card, but I think a really good one because depending on how your board's shaping up, if you can play this just to help you gain more board control, finish off your opponent, or maybe even just make that one trade with your opponent's minion, I think it can be quite positive. Overall, I really like this card. I will definitely be trying it out. Whether it will get played a lot, I'm not sure, because Paladin doesn't have a lot of weapons, but it does have the 4 mana True Silver, which really over time has proven to be an excellent card. Do you want to play this instead of a True Silver? Do you want to play this with True Silver? Those will be things that we'll need to work out, but there's definitely a place for this in the game, and I'll be playing it to try out its potential. Okay guys, thanks again so much for watching. Like I said before, I'll be back tomorrow with more card reveals, so make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up to date. Also, do please like the video if you enjoyed it, because it really helps a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.